The folks at Jeno Fishing not only bring you the Low Budget Live podcast, they bring you the Low Lifer sweet deals over at jenofishing.com. All you got to do is use code LBL25 and you'll get 25% off of everything on the site just for being a low lifer. Listening to this weed eater voice saves you money on things like the tin cannon. Maybe you want a Offspring buzzbait. Maybe you need some CD25s, old big deep diving crankbaits, because we're trying to make cranking great again at Jeno Fishing. And it's all about the action and the new Dawn minnow that's coming. Trust me, you're going to want to see that too. jenofishing.com is where it's at. LBL 25. Express Boats, let's hang the banner. The all-welded aluminum bass smashing machine, the Express X21 Pro. That's what I'm running right now. Got the 250 Yamaha show on the back. Fastest hole shot in the game. More tackle storage than you can shake a stick at. Trust me when I say if you go take a ride in one, you'll be like, why didn't I do this sooner? They've also got bay boats. They've got a little bit of something for everybody and every budget. Check them out at expressboats.com because the folks at Express, they've been building excitement since 1966. Damn these
Biloxi blues, it happens every night.
Every night.
And I ain't never met a riverboat dealer that could ever be a friend of mine.
Nope. Have not.
Summer heat never treats me kind, it leaves trouble on my mind. So I'm bidding farewell, putting in my notice, and I'll see you at another time.
Say.
This highway does not know my name, and I don't
Nope.
care. No, I don't care. Headed my way for another place, and I got 3 good tires and a spare.
Right to the hook right here.
Just a white line gypsy getting out of Mississippi with just enough gas to get there.
Low budget live, the not so live variety from the Low Budget Live Bar and Grill here in beautiful southern middle Tennessee. And this is the podcast for Monday, July the 14th. You bunch of low lifers, and it is great to be back in the bar and grill. I was up in lovely Messina, New York for the NPFL event the last few days, and I'm back just in time to turn around and leave again. As you're listening to this, I'm en route to ICAST in Orlando, Florida. Yay. Yay, that's sarcasm. Upstate New York's one of them places, man, you don't want to leave. You just do not want to leave. Trust me, it is, when you're a southern boy with this humidity and everything down here, it is the place to be in the summertime. That is for sure. The weather's awesome, and they have giant smallmouth. You can't go wrong with either. And I am glad to be back here because Delta tried to make sure that I didn't get back here. I had me one hell of a Friday night, man. I left Messina, drove to Syracuse, New York, got on a plane, and they board us. We're going to take off. We're on the runway, and the pilot's like, yeah, ladies and gentlemen, it's storming in Atlanta, and they're not going to let us take off from here, which I completely understand weather, and I just don't understand we're just going to sit here, and if you got to just use the restroom, you can't get up, just go ahead and just pee your pants. We don't care if the plane smells like urine. Just go ahead. You're not allowed to leave your seat. You're now our prisoners here. Thanks for flying Delta. And so, and I know they got safety protocols and all that. But finally get in the air, and then we're in the air, and I'm like, damn, it's taking way longer than I thought it should. And ladies and gentlemen, just a little update here. Still storms in Atlanta, and we're just doing circles. We hope we don't run out of gas. We're real sorry about the inconvenience. We might be there 9 hours from now if we don't crash. We're not sure. Pray for us. And the whole time I got the screen on the back of the headrest shows me we're just getting close to Nashville. I'm like, hey, excuse me, pilot, sir. My truck's in Nashville. You just want to drop me off there? That'd be cool. Then I won't have the nightmare of what my night's probably headed towards. And anyways, finally land in Atlanta, sit on the runway forever. We get in. It's like 11 p.m. Atlanta time, and I get a text that says my flight was late. It was like 11:30 out of Nashville, but it says it's been moved to 1:45 a.m. Oh, awesome. 1:45 a.m., which to me, as a gypsy that's traveled for a very long time, that means we're probably not leaving Atlanta. Atlanta's only 4 hours from my house. That's why I don't mind connecting through there, because I always say, if anything happens, I'll just get a car, or hell, I'll get a ride, whatever. And get there, and I immediately start like looking for a rental car immediately. All rental cars are gone. The Atlanta airport looked like something out of a freaking disaster movie. People, which it's the busiest airport in the world always. And you go by the Delta desk, there's people stacked up everywhere. And anyways, I couldn't find, I'm looking on their app, trying to find a flight for in the morning as I'm trying to find rental cars. I'm doing all these things. I'm texting the triple threat. It was her birthday, by the way. I'm sitting in the Atlanta airport, super husband. And just couldn't figure out anything. I sit down, kind of just, all right, we got to figure this out. While I'm sitting there, I get another text from Delta that says, well, your flight's been moved to 2:45 a.m. And I damn sure know this thing ain't leaving. There's no way. It's going to Nashville for the 30-minute flight. Beep, beep. Just a up and down flight to get over there. I know that crap ain't happening. And so I start, again, I've called rental car companies. I'm looking online. There's nothing. Absolutely nothing. So then I get a text that says, we're sorry about the inconvenience, but your flight has been canceled and you're on the 8 a.m. flight in the morning, which is not a big deal other than the fact that the hotels in the area, once I start looking at that, are all booked up. And I don't want to stay in the Atlanta Hartsfield Jackson Airport all night. I know people have to do that. I ain't doing it. I got hotel points. I travel 20-something years on the road, man. I'll get this figured out. Well, dude, I'm looking on all the apps that I use. I cannot find a hotel. Cannot find a hotel that's booked, not booked up. I'm like, what in the hell? I finally found one on the other side, the north side of downtown Atlanta. It's $300. And I'm like, why is everything so damn high? I just said, screw it. I book it. I go. I'll figure it out tomorrow. I'm going to make Delta pay for this. I'm going to make Delta's fixing to pay for this hotel. $75 Uber ride later, I arrive at the hotel, and there's nothing but Beyonce and Cowboy Carter signs everywhere. Because, Beyonce's a cowboy now. Who knew? And she won, she's got a big country album. She's from Texas. I don't know if y'all know that. She's definitely a redneck. But anyways, she's country. Country is cornbread. But she's playing 3 nights in Atlanta, apparently. That's why all the hotels are $9 million a piece. That's why all these decorations are there. So I got a problem with Delta and Beyonce. Hell, I got a problem with Jay-Z. Now, I'm calling you out, Jay-Z. We got beef now because your wife's not country, okay? All right? Beyonce, if you want to come on here and debate me on whether you're country or not, you're more than welcome to. But anyways, once I Ubered back to the airport on Saturday morning, Delta, the cancellation cost me about another $500. So we're gonna see if we can get Delta to do anything on that. I doubt they're going to. Look, thunderstorms happen. Flying in the summer sucks because of that, and that's the reason I'm driving to ICAST. As you're listening to this, me and my dear friend Luke Cochran are en route because this is, like I said, the podcast for Monday, July 14th. But all is well. Got back home. Triple Threat and I celebrated her birthday, went to dinner, and all good in the hood. But frustrating Friday night, a little bit frustrating and exhausting Friday night when you've been up since 4 a.m. to work a bass tournament. But can't say enough good things, man, about the NPFL in New York. Such a great time up there, and great weather, great people. So super fun few days, and I just was really pissed that I did not have my boat up there because, gosh almighty, I got on the water on day one to do some on the water stuff with my boy Tanner Lyons, and it was miserable being out there and not being able to actually fish. I'll just tell you, and I do that when I'm doing the ABT on the water. It's the same way. ICAST. Let's talk about ICAST real quick. You heard me say going to ICAST, yay, man. I'm to the point, I don't know why we are having ICAST. Like, it is such a money grab, I feel like, for the industry. And used to, and y'all hear me say this every year probably because I get really, really tired of it. Just like my dog Thor, who's in here right now, if you can hear him panting, it started raining outside, and he found his way into the bar grill, my Australian Shepherd, who acts like he'll eat you alive and is scared to death of rain. He is something. That is him whining and panting and going crazy in the background. Welcome to our life with our 8-year-old Australian Shepherd. I don't know how he got in here, but he's here. Welcome, Thor, to LBL. But ICAST it used to be this thing where you went to see all the new stuff and orders got written, and it was like the show in the tackle industry. It just was. Now we release everything 1 week or weeks before on social media, right? Everybody that's going to see, everybody that can't be at the show anyways is going to see it, plus the people that are going to be at the show. I just don't know, other than people being able to go and have parties and do that kind of crap, why we even have it anymore. Really, I love going and seeing everybody, but it's just like the show itself. And I think a lot of trade shows are kind of pointless these days. But ICAST Week is a strange one now because, like I said, I feel like I know everything that every company that I give two dams about is releasing before we go down there and stand around and stare at each other for a few days. So not real sure what the future holds. And I know a lot of companies have started pulling out and not going to it. Several. I've talked to several that that's kind of their game plan. They're using that ICAST budget towards other things to see if it can bring them revenue, and it's happening in a positive way. So we'll see what happens, man. It used to just be this really cool gathering where all these things happen, but little trickier now these days, to say the least. Really, the only thing ICAST Week is good for is entertainment. And that's on social media, because it's when all the mom's basement dwellers come out of the woodwork, and so-and-so, a Strike King or whoever comes out with a bait, and these keyboard warrior guys go, man, that's the Sagawachi spoonbill sandwich shad. You didn't come up with that. You knocked that off. That's that Sagawachi. You don't know nothing about that Sagawachi. You got to fly to Japan and swim out to a remote island. They don't even allow boats. You got to swim. You got to be a good swimmer. And you swim all the way out there, and that's the only way you can get 3 Sagamachi samurai spoonbill shads. Who cares? Stop with that nonsense. And look, man, I'm all for original ideas and stuff not getting knocked off. Of course I am. I own my own business. That's like, I'm all for that. But that being said, Japanese fishing tackle, the JDM world, a lot of cool stuff. Most people will never even know, A, what it is, or B, how in the hell to even get it. They'll never know. It's ridiculous how hard it is. Like, I'm in this world and can't find half this crap when you hear whispers of a Sagawachi spoonbill samurai shad. You can't find them. Or you get on eBay and you pay $3,000 for one bag of. That's dumb. Okay. And there's some really cool things going on. Like Spro has cut some distribution deals with some of those companies to bring that stuff in to make it a little easier in the States to get it. And I'm all for that kind of thing. But, man, these guys just fly around. They're the gatekeepers of the Japanese tackle. And I feel like most of these goons don't even fish, to be honest. I just don't think they do. They damn sure don't have anything to do with the company. It's a really bizarre world, the JDM world, and then like the swim bait world. It's kind of the same, one and the same when it comes to just people just being really unhappy, it seems. A lot of unhappy folks in the fishing industry right now. It seems to be the case. And nothing more evident than that, than the fact that during our NPFL event, people were upset that folks were using floggers, traffic cones, essentially, to cut down on the glare in the water. They banned forward-facing sonar, and they're letting them use floggers. Hypocrites. Floggers. Huh? People bitching about the schedule. Hey, y'all put this tournament on at the best time where they're going to catch them. Took away forward-facing sonar, and that's how you did your schedule. That's the dumbest damn thing I've ever heard. Of course we want a schedule where guys can catch fish, but originally this tournament was scheduled for 3 weeks later in the year, and then Bassmaster had an open on top of us the same week that had not been announced when we released our schedule out of Waddington, and you were going to have 300 and something boats on top of each other, so the NPFL moved to this week. That's how that happened. But anyways, people don't want to hear that. Internet's wild. It's undefeated. the fans, those people aren't fans. I know the true fans, and those people aren't fans. Don't let floggers hurt your feelings. It's a really hard thing to use and catch fish doing. That being said, the NPFL event was off the charts. It was stupid good. Live was so much fun. I was super jealous that I wasn't out there, but it was a lot of fun. Congrats to Drew Cook. Congrats to everybody that caught him. There were so many great anglers in the mix. Guys were making runs of over 200 miles round trip down to the lake and back. It was insane. Getting there 3 days there and back, just a testament to the equipment that all these pros use, the preparation, the strategy that goes into all that. But just a fantastic event up on the St. Lawrence River. And right now, we're going to get a gentleman on the phone that knows a little bit about it. We're going to get him on the line, get him on the hook right here, thanks to Flogger Fishing. He was the 2019 Bassmaster Elite Series Rookie of the Year. He was runner-up in the Progressive Angler of the Year race in the NPFL last year. He has been very, very close to hoisting one of those NPFL Shields, and he finally got it done this week on the St. Lawrence River. He's won over $1 million in career earnings in professional bass fishing since 2019. Ladies and gentlemen, Drew Cook. All right, as promised, here he is, the champ. He finally, I say finally, he's only fished 2 years, but he finally got him one of those shields. He and I had text back and forth earlier this year. I'm like, great job. I forget the term. And you're like, yeah, close again, but I didn't win. You've wanted one of these shields on the shelf, and now the Cook residence has one. Drew Cook, congratulations, man.
Thank you. Yeah, I was so close last year. It was like 3 different tournaments where I should have won, and it just didn't work out. Either I had the bites or like the Hartwell one. I'm glad that I didn't win because Corbishley got to win. But if I'd have been smarter and moved on a little bit quicker, it would have been tough for him to beat me. But it is what it is. It was all for a reason, I guess. But I'm just glad, dude. I freaking won one. It was wire to wire, and it was smallmouth.
No doubt.
Like, it was pretty legit.
Yeah,
and it was a damn good time. Like,
yeah, it didn't look like it sucked at all, Drew.
No.
It sucked in the studio because we were just foaming at the mouth and not getting to actually reel those in with y'all, but we had some amazing coverage. Man, and I got to say real quick too, shout out to the cameramen. I don't know if any of them even watch this show, but shout out to them for riding on those over 100-mile one-way rides with you guys every day, because, man, those dudes put in work this week, to say the least, to bring us the coverage, because it was awesome, man. Some of those shots, there was one on the final day, and if y'all are watching this and you didn't get to watch live, you can watch it all on YouTube, and there's a clip of Drew towards the end of our coverage, so towards the end of the show. He's got his flogger out, and there is an absolute giant smallmouth, and our cameraman was just above him at the right angle where you could see almost what Drew was seeing through the flogger, in a sense. Like, it was incredible camera work, and that was not a small one. You didn't end up getting it to bite, though.
No, I didn't end up getting it to bite. But at that point, I had what I had, and I knew Patrick had to catch like 28 something, and I felt good about it. I was going to give myself another like 30 minutes to fish. And then I saw Shane LaHue run by me coming from the lake, and he wasn't like skint all the way back. He was running. And then I like got freaking out on my time. Like, how long is it going to take? He's already going back. Like, and then I just went on in. I was like, at that point in time, I was like, the only way I don't win is if I don't make it. So I gave myself, I think, 2 hours and 45 minutes to get back. And I went straight to the point at the boat ramp, and I looked at check-in and fished until like 20 minutes before it was time to be in.
That's smart.
But it got personal with that one. I'm not going to lie.
Man, I was going to say personal. Talk about, I mean, you and Patrick are buds. Y'all are tight. Patrick's the all-time leading money winner in the NPFL. He's been there 4 out of 5 years. He's got 4 trophies now. He's in the hunt for the Angler of the Year race again, just like you were last year. But y'all are rooming with each other. You go out 2 ounces apart on day 2. You're leading. He's right and set. I mean, talk about that. Is that personal? You want to beat your buddies, right?
Oh yeah, it was, man. After the weigh, like I weighed in, I was like, golly, I freaking smoked him. And day one of that tournament was one of the best tournament days I've ever had.
Oh,
I
wow.
ran down there to start on a 6-pounder. I caught it on my first cast in there. I left it. I went and caught a 478. I left there, went and caught a 520 or a 530 something. I caught a 480 something. Ran back, got gas, and went and caught a 520 to cull out a 440. And I was like, I'm not burning any more fish. Like I had 2 fish that would have culled, but it was like it's not really worth it. But I could have caught like 28, you know, but it still it wasn't worth it then. And ended up going back the second day and catching those. But it was just like everything worked out that first day. And my brother-in-law, he went up there with me. And in the NPFL they get to practice with. He never caught a smallmouth before.
Oh, man.
He had a blast. Like it was a good time. He rode with me the first day of the tournament, and he was like, dude, is this how it normally goes? I'm like, no, normally that one's gone. I lose this one at the boat. Like we're scratching and clawing to catch 22 pounds or something like that. It doesn't normally work out like this, but it did. I had a really good game plan going into it. Had a great practice, and the tournament was perfect. The only thing that I could say about the tournament is I didn't catch 25 pounds the last day of the tournament. And if I'd have done that, I'd have caught 25 every day that I was there, 6 days in a row. It would have been pretty cool.
What a damn fishery. I mean, that's all you can say. And there have been people online, like I'm sure you haven't seen it because you won and you're not in the mom's basement Facebook comments, I'm sure. But like we posted a video of Atkins using a flogger. And these guys come out of the woodwork, talking about floggers should be banned. You ban forward face sonar, you can't ban flogger. Oh, look at them catching these bedding fish. And you're like, I mean, I'm obsessed with sight fishing. I have been my whole life. I love it. It's my absolute, if I could just only do that the rest of my life, is all I would do. I mean, forget fishing any other way. I love looking at fish, whether they're spawning or just cruising, whatever. And that goes for saltwater. Like that is my favorite thing. You're an expert at it. And man, I get the biology or the conservation side of it where people think that it hurts this or hurts that. But I want folks at home to think about how amazing that fishery is and the fact that boatloads and boatloads of people make the pilgrimage to the St. Lawrence every year to do just that. How you guys
100%.
Every year for years and years and years and years, and it's still kicking out 27, 25 pound back, 7 pound smallmouth. These insane numbers, man. Like I don't think we're hurting the fishery. I just don't. I don't think there are, how many 5-pounders live in the St. Lawrence?
There's so many of them. No,
Yeah.
but what the crazy thing is, and this is, I feel like what happens to a lot of people is there's so many like 380s to 430s.
Yes.
And like a 430, that's a nice one. You know what I mean?
Yes.
But that's 21 3/4, 22 pounds. Like,
You're not going to win.
No, you're not. You can't. You have to leave those. And you can literally be seeing them. There's hundreds. Like the final day of that thing, I had one that had a group that probably had 60 or 70 bass in it. But there was one 5-something, and I could never get it to bite because I'd, be trying to pick it out, and a 380 or a 414 or something like that would eat it. And it's like, I can't spend this much time because, like, you spend at least 2 minutes every time you hook one of those things.
Yep, fighting.
And you catch 30 of them a day, you've wasted an hour that you don't get to fish. I've only got 4 hours to fish to begin with.
That's right.
Like I caught, I think 6 bass the first day of the tournament. And like, I mean, you can't waste your time.
No, and people listen to this at home, they say, "Oh, boo-hoo, there's 60 or 70 bass." But truly, it comes in, like you said, you had a good game plan, you had a strategy. I said it to Fat Cat before we went live on day 2. I said, we're not going to see a ton of fish catches. I said, the guys, these top 5, I talked to all of you at the weigh-in, knew what you were doing. I'm like, man, they are going down there to try to catch the 5 biggest ones they can. They're not fan casting a ton. You were some. There
A
were
little
some
bit.
guys doing it, but when you were locked in on the sight fish deal, you were looking for one to take back to Messina, period, end of story. And I feel like we're a lot of guys, and I've been that guy. So I can say this. I did this at St. Clair one time. I got caught up in that numbers game. And you can, man. And then there are areas where there are these better than average fish. And you're like, oh, I'm catching a ton of 4-pounders. I'm good. But dude, 4.5s and 5-pounders are how you win. And if you've never been there, you're having a ball.
Oh, yeah.
You come back to the weigh and go, dude, I caught 75 fish today. It's not that guy that wins those smallmouth events most of the time, I would say.
Yeah, I've been sucked into that. I don't know, probably 4 or 5 different times on that place right there, on that river. And like, yeah, you have a decent finish, or like after day 1, you're like, oh, damn, got to change it up, go somewhere else.
Right.
But like, I think it was when Shakurik won the elite there.
Mm-hmm.
I was on the funnest smallmouth bite I've ever been on in my life. It was a mayfly hatch, and the mayflies were on a bluff, and they were dropping like one every 15 or 20 seconds. But there was probably 300 or 400 smallmouth on this big sand bowl, and they were all 380s to 420s. And, I caught them, and had 21 pounds, something like that. I got to the weigh-in, I was in 50th place.
Mm-hmm.
So day 2, we weren't going to do that. I found some fish in the lake, but I was like, man, there's so many right here. Went out there, and I ended up catching 27 something out there. And it's like, man, why did I not just, but I didn't catch but 4 or 5 or, 5 or 6, maybe 10 bass that day. But it was like they were the ones.
That's what you have to separate yourself when everybody is going to catch 4 to 4.5 pounders, essentially, man. It's a tough mindset. If you're going on a fun fishing trip, whatever. Like, obviously you want to catch big ones too. Everybody wants to catch their personal best and all that kind of stuff. But like, if you're on a fun fishing trip with your buddies, just hammer down. Like, let's catch all them suckers that'll bite. But when you're fishing for $100,000 against this group of guys, it takes that better than average. There's such a difference, like you said, in a 480 and a 420. They go a long freaking ways, man. And it speaks to that. It's discipline that you have to have. And Patrick was the same way. There was a spot he was on, I guess it was on day 2, where you can just see him around him. It looked like he was in the Dominican Republic. The water's so clear. He's on a shallow flat, and there's just these little black dots everywhere around it. He ain't even casting.
He ain't throwing.
Yeah. No, he ain't throwing. And I'm like, what's he doing? I'm going crazy in the studio. We can see it over his shoulder, but I know what he's doing. But it's like, holy crap, man. Kyle Welcher, day 2, for an hour, he caught him every other cast, dude. He's bombing out there and catching them. But he said, this area's just got from 4s to 4.5s. I've got to leave it if I'm going to catch something bigger. And he did every day. He had to leave it. And it's funny how those fish do group up by size. Talk about your mindset or your game plan, your preparation when you're making a run like that. And I know we had good conditions this week. We didn't have crazy conditions, but man, anything can go wrong. And I know you're proud of your equipment. You stand behind it, obviously, but how do you get ready for a run of over 100 miles one way?
Man, you gotta mentally be prepared that it's worth it. For a fact, if you stop anywhere short of Clayton, you lose. And maybe in a 2-day tournament, you could win, somewhere else up there, but like, it's not going to happen. So you got to go. And I mean, I've done it before there. I've stopped in Ogdensburg and caught them. Caught them good, end up having 10th place finish, something like that. And it, great week, but wasn't even in the same realm as the people up there in the top. I was just down there. You gotta make sure you plan it out. You gotta make sure what, you gotta have a plan. You gotta stick to the plan. Like I told my guys, that I'm not spending any more than 10 minutes on a fish unless I have X. If I have 24 plus, I can spend the rest of the day on a bass. It doesn't matter. Like that was That was the number I needed to get to. But until then, I fished at 10 minutes and I was gone. 10 minutes, I was gone. Because if you get sucked into a fish, and honestly, earlier this year, this happened to me, and it cost me about $100 grand.
An expensive lesson, right?
But that one's a little bit different. I didn't know I was going to be able to find another 5-pounder. At the St. Lawrence, you just kept going, and you were going to find one, because all those big ones, it seemed like they were like you'd be around a bunch of bass, and then like you'd get out of them, and then there'd be one, and it was a 5-pounder. And then you'd go another little ways, and there'd be one more. It was a 5-pounder or high 4. So you just had to keep moving. And I caught myself a couple of different times, like fishing, and I'm like, I got to go, got to keep moving. And the first 2 days I didn't fish a whole lot. I only threw at places I saw bass. And a lot of those places had, they weren't bad, but they weren't as good as they were. And just had to keep moving. But I also went into the week with a game plan of fishing somewhere else every day, because you see it every time somebody goes there. They have a big bag the first day, and then they're sucked into this area, this vein or whatever, and their weight steadily decrease every day by tremendous amount. They catch 25 and they catch 22 and a half, and then they're 20 pounds. And I didn't want to do that, so I just, going into it, I was just going to fish 3 different places. I had enough places in those 3 areas that if the wind was bad, I could still fish 3 different places in that, whichever way the wind blew. But yeah, that was the game plan going into it, and that's what we did. I'm still paranoid about the fuel thing. So like in practice, you got to go over there and you got to get a gallon of gas to make sure that everything works. But once you got that figured out, send it.
Yeah, I heard a gentleman who will remain nameless, but I was standing there to take off on day 1. This man had not made the run in practice, or had not even prepared for the gas situation. And I heard him talking to another NPFL pro, and he goes, I don't even think I'm going to have to get gas. And I'm standing there listening, and obviously I can't really say anything. I'm just like, listen to this conversation. And they were having an argument, and he told this other NPFL pro where he was going. He says, buddy, you have to get gas. You will run out of gas. You cannot do no preparation. And he had a good event. He did end up having a good event, but I thought, I'm sitting there like, how are you going to make that kind of run? Because I made one in an FLW one time in Kentucky. Like I was running 97 miles one way, all the way down to Tennessee. We had great weather. I did it 3 days straight. And if you're not the least amount prepared, you better be calling gas stations, the marinas, make sure they're open. You're dead in the water if you don't take care of those fine details. And seeing you guys that have made those runs, from Waddington, it's probably 20 miles closer or something from Waddington, or 15?
18 miles, I think.
18. Okay. So, you guys have been out of Waddington. You've made that run before. So Messina's just a little bit further. But so you guys, and obviously you have an advantage. You've been there a lot of times over people that haven't been there, or people that have never made a run of that size. It's very intimidating. Even if it's flat calm, it's intimidating knowing, man, I'm going 100 miles from here in this bass boat today, and I got to get back, and I got to do it 3 days. And that's something we kept talking about on live, and you just said it. The only thing that could beat Drew Cook on the final day was not making it back to Messina. And we've seen that in tournaments a lot. Something happens. A guy slings an ear. Guy runs out of gas. We had 3 or 4 guys run out of gas and were late on day 2 that made the run, that just miscalculated their deal. So that definitely all comes into it. It's got to be so stressful. Got to keep your fish alive, right? Like fish care is huge. You were doing a great job taking care of them, as so many others were on camera, and all the guys in the field were. But I just think that can't be understated. People like to look at, oh my gosh, he caught these giant smallmouth. He was sight fishing. It was fun. It was this, it was that. But man, just getting there is such a huge thing. Getting there and getting back in your win, man. I love that you talked about your brother-in-law being able to fish with you. You never caught a smallmouth. What is his PB now? Did you let him stick a few in practice?
Yeah, he caught I think it was a 586 was the biggest one he caught.
He's not going to beat that in South Georgia, bud. He's not going to catch that on Seminole.
No, no,
not at all.
Catch that. But
that's awesome.
Whenever the first day of practice, that big bass that I weighed in, that was almost 7 pounds, it had a tag in it, and we saw it, and I'm like, dang, look at that. That's a nice one. I didn't think it was that big. Obviously, I didn't think it was that big. I thought it was maybe a 5-pounder, but it's sitting there by the boat, and he's grabbing a drop shot pitch out there. I'm like, no, we're not going to throw it that one. We're going to leave
Thank
that
God.
one be.
Yeah. Thank God. What did you end up getting for the tag? I've seen some questions on social media. Have you called it in?
I haven't called it in yet. I'm gonna call it in tomorrow. The tag's from Queen's University.
Okay.
So I just want to know where they tagged it, when they tagged it,
no doubt,
and how far it made it.
Yeah, we need
That give me a pretty good clue on some stuff.
No doubt about it. You probably, knowing you're so sneaky, you probably won't share that information with anybody. But we would like to. We need a social media.
It's going to be mine.
It would be very cool. That kind of research is always awesome because smallmouth are so nomadic. They roam. Like, I mean, I have an opinion on the Tennessee River that we have smallmouth that will travel 20, 30 miles to spawn, honestly, because they show up in the tail race at a certain time of year on Pickwick in particular, and then they're gone. They leave. I don't think those masses of smallmouth live up there. And then you start to see guys catch smallmouth on the river ledges and things.
Fall.
Yeah, in the fall. And they catch them schooling in places. So I really do think those fish have a migration. I would love for someone to do a study like that on how far they travel, because they're just such an amazing fish, man. Just absolutely incredible. So I had a couple people tag me and question like, hey, what did Drew get for that fish? Was that fish your PB, a 610? Is that your biggest smallmouth now?
No, I had a 614.
Jeez. That's a 7-pounder at my house.
Yeah, it was that's the biggest one that I've caught and weighed.
Was that at St. Lawrence?
I caught one. Yep, that was at the St. Lawrence. I caught one time that was probably pretty close to it, but I didn't weigh it because I was like so scared to even be remotely close to where I just caught it, because there was like 50 of them and they were all great big ones. So just dumped it back in and got out of there.
Yeah, it took off. Something that we talked about on NPFL Live a little bit about you in particular is your versatility. I feel like, I mean, since you came on the scene 2019 Bassmaster Elite Series Rookie of the Year, you have phenomenal years. I feel like every year in the point standing, you're 24th with 2 events to go there right now. You're 6th in the Angler of the Year race in the NPFL right now. You're a picture of consistency, but I feel like a lot of times you get labeled as this sight fishing Drew. Yeah, old Cook, man, he's a sight man. You're one of the best in the world at it. It's getting hot everywhere in the country right now, and the folks at Gill want to cool you off. You can use the code LBL20 at checkout at gillfishing.com on some of their amazing sun shirts, their shorts. Get a rain suit, get your life together, and use code LBL20. Don't use anything that Todd Castledine tells you, ever. Don't use his code, okay? Don't use his code. It's been brought to my attention. He's trying to sway people from using the LBL code. We can't have that low lifer. Show him what's up at gillfishing.com. Pro Guy Batteries, ProGuyBatteries.com, manufacturers of some of the best batteries in the game. Why? Because they've been in the battery business for over 40 years, whether it is their AGMs, their lead acids, or their new Alpha Series lithium line, or even their chargers. They've got it going on. ProGuyBatteries.com. You can use code LBL10 to save money at checkout, and trust me, you can trust the folks at Pro Guy Batteries. There's a lot of battery companies out there these days. Trust somebody that's been in the business for a long time. ProGuyBatteries.com. Baitworks.com, bait-wrx.com. That's the exclusive online home of this little nugget right here, the LOB Power Finesse Jig. You can get it there. You can use code Duncan-10, DUNKIN-10 on everything at baitworks.com to save you a little cash. And last but not least, I want to give a shout out to my buddy Michael Cowart, Shallow Tails Adventures. You can find Michael at Shallow Tails, TAILS adventures at gmail.com. If you are in the panhandle of Florida on a vacation, you want to go try to catch a tarpon, you want to go try to catch a redfish, there's nobody better. Captain Michael Cowart, one of the best dudes I know. Go check him out, Shallow Tails Adventure. You will not be disappointed with a day on the water with Captain Mike. But man, getting to watch you the last couple years and keeping up with your career like I have, you are very versatile. Very, very, very versatile. I don't think you get enough credit for how versatile you are. Is there a technique that you've picked up since 2019, since joining the professional trail, that you utilize a lot now that you didn't utilize when you started?
Yeah, most things besides a wacky rig with a spinning rod. I mean, dude, I made the elites. I had one spinning rod, and we went to Champlain the first time, and it was. I mean, I caught every bass I weighed in on my one spinning rod, and then the other rod had a 20-pound line with a jig on it. And they were biting it like every cast, and both swinging them, and so that opened my eyes. And then I tried a largemouth fish too in that open, and I realized really quick that that's how you get whipped bad. Anytime you go up north in a multi-day tournament, you cannot mess with the largemouth. It won't work anymore. So I would say most of the finesse type techniques is something I've gotten a lot better at, since then.
Well, and
just from sheer fishing all of them, all these tournaments.
Yeah, and I was going to say, I mean, obviously you're 6 years into this career, and you just got to win on one of the biggest smallmouth fisheries in the world. This marquee place that is not easy for a Southern boy to go get a win on. Sometimes, Pat got him one last year, but normally you got pesky Canadians and New Yorkers and these folks that they grew up doing it that are very hard to beat on those waters. Now some of the Japanese guys have a ton of success up there as well. So I know this has to be such a special win coming from a Lake Seminole expert to go up there and win in smallmouth country, man, has to be incredible.
Yeah, it is. And I learned a lot this week that, like I said, I've been there like 6 times and didn't really know a whole lot. You hear stories about like the Johnstons and people like that, but there are rocks, individual rocks that are better than other rocks. And I don't have many of them. They got a bunch of them, but I've finally started to piece that together. And it's not the biggest rock. Obviously, it's something different about it. Each one's a little bit different, but when you start putting the pieces of that together, I think you start doing a lot better. But I hope we go back next year twice.
Well, we'll see. Fingers crossed. You can't have a tournament like that where it takes over 20 a day to win. 20 a day to get paid in first week of July. And I feel like the league not go, we probably should go back to Messina at some point. What would you feel about what if you had a tournament up there? Because I was talking to Jason Christie about this actually, and Jason was making the run. Jason had a top 10, a great tournament, but he goes, man, I wish we weren't making the run all the way to the lake. I wish we'd have made it off limits because it just adds to the stress. He was just talking about, man, not to complain. It's awesome. I'm catching them, but he's like, it's just a little bit added stress. What would you think about a river only St. Lawrence tournament where the lake is not in play, the entire river's in play? But what would you think about that?
That'd be fine too. I caught some bass in the lake. A good bit of them, but I left a lot of bass in the river and weighed in probably 4 bass in the river.
Yeah.
If they would have made an off limits, out there, I would have been inside that off limits. So that would have been fine. But the way it happened this week, it was like a perfect storm. I really wish it had been rough on day 3 of practice too. So nobody could have got out there, because, day 2 of practice eased out there. it was really hard to see, super rough, but like I saw all I needed to see, and it
Yeah.
was like, this is what we'll do. And then the last day of practice, obviously, it was not a breath of wind, and there was a lot of people that ended up out there. But if it had been rough for all 3 days, it'd have been even better. I think I might not have caught them as good on day one, but I mean, hell, it all worked out. It don't.
Oh, no
shit
doubt
wouldn't
about it.
happen.
But it would have held a lot of people back from making that run that had maybe never made it before in their life. Because I was surprised. Gerald and I were actually talking about this the first morning. I said, "Gee, do you remember a time when people just talked about 100-mile runs in a bass boat? Like it's just okay." I mean, because if you ever heard about 10 years ago, if you heard about a guy making a 100-mile run, you were like, that guy is freaking insane and he must be on the mother load and whatever. And now it's like, you got 115 guys in a tournament and 75, 80 of them are like, yeah, I'm going to run 100 miles. Yeah, I'm running 100 miles. I'm going to, because something we haven't talked about, and obviously it doesn't matter for Drew Cook because he won 100 grand. But what if you make that run and you don't get a check? I mean, you are adding to your total expense for the week monumentally, filling up with some marina gas. You know what I mean?
Oh, no doubt.
I mean, it is such a risk versus reward situation.
And that was also something going into it. Going up there, it was a single tournament in New York. You had to make a top 10.
That's right.
For it to be
worthwhile.
Profitable.
Yeah, I get it.
And so, like at that point, I'm curious to see. I cannot wait to get my credit card statement to see how much I spent on fuel this whole trip. But I filled up my boat twice a day and my truck once a day, every day.
Jeez.
Like every day. Because it's an hour to the boat ramp in the mornings for the tournament. Then I'm driving 115 miles down there, getting gas, going to the lake, and then coming back, getting gas, driving all the way back. And then I'm filling the boat up on the way back to the house that afternoon.
It was really three times a day you're filling.
And it was just like, God, and you're trying to keep track of like, and it was very close. Like I probably could have made it only filling up one time, but like it doesn't take that long,
Yeah,
like, you just go get the gas.
Well, and I noticed it with a lot of you guys in the top 5 that going to get gas on the way down, stopping and going ahead and
have to knock that out.
Yeah, go ahead and knock it out.
Yep. Because then you're fishing till it's it's time to go normally.
Yeah.
But the thing you have to worry about there, because I don't know what all those people do, but they don't work, and they got these big ass boats, and they do like 17 miles an hour and throw these 5-foot waves that go for 8 miles.
Yeah.
Like you get rough traffic, and that was one great thing that we didn't fish on Saturday. Like you go through either one of the narrows, like you're fixing to beat your boat and your fish like bad.
Yeah.
So you have to take that. I mean, it's dead slick calm. There's no wind. The actual waves aren't any problem, but it's the boat traffic that you have to worry about. And then you throw in 2 or 3 of those great big barges, like, and I don't know the reason why, but some of those barges, man, like 3 miles away from them have like giant waves. And you're like, where did those even come from? Because you don't see them because you're just in La La Land. You're 47 miles into this 120-mile ride home. You're just kind of zoned out going through the motions. And then, whoa, you're just like, oh, hell, what do we do? And then, so that's one thing that you always have to, because, I mean, you do that, slow down to, almost a dead stop to get over those waves. You do that 5, 6, 7 times, man. That's like 3, 4, or 5 minutes that you're losing, and like that's 3, 4, or 5 pounds. And in a smallmouth tournament where it's ounces, that you just got cut. And and I'd say marking your time on the way down is like there was a lot of people that are like, I don't know how far it is from here. Like, well, dude, you should have been doing that every 25 minutes or
Yeah,
every 20 minutes, whatever.
yeah.
You should know a really good, gist of how far it is. And like once you got to Ogdensburg, when you got to that big bridge, it was like, shit, I'm home. We made it.
Yeah.
We can Cadillac now.
Yeah.
Until you got to there, you were like, everything she's got, because you just don't know when or if something's going to happen, what you're going to run into. You might find somebody on the final day, run into KJ Queen right there in Ogdensburg, an hour before he's due in, hour and 15 minutes before I'm due in, pull up to him, and he's like freaking out. He's like, I don't know, it's going to be close, whatever. I'm like, dude, you're 32 minutes away. You've got 28 minutes to, change that battery out. If not, I'll hang out. You can ride in with me. We'll get you in. No problem. Don't freak out.
Yeah.
Because you're only stressing yourself out. Like, there's two of us here. Like, we'll get you there. No problem.
And this tournament, we see a lot of that camaraderie in pro fishing a ton. I being boots on the ground at the NPFL, see it a bunch, but we saw it a little bit more this week with these long runs. And I think it, crap happens, right? And whether that is a lack of preparation or stuff just happens. My favorite thing that did happen this week, though, and I'm going to call him out just because it was really funny, and he was giving me crap because I was giving him crap. Jason Williamson rode in with another competitor. I forget who picked him up now. And dude, his hat was gone. Jay Will had this flow that I'd never seen, man. He had, and I told him, I was like, hey, never put a hat on again, dude. Yeah. This is your new look, man. He was hammering me, but he ran out of freaking gas. Like not far from the from Texas.
Yeah, I saw it. We both saw it. Knew exactly what happened.
Yeah, he ran out of gas, and I think it was like 4 or 5 on day 2 that ran out. Some that were late, 2 or 3 minutes late, and like you said, dude, pounds. Smallmouth tournaments are separated by ounces. You get docked 2 or 3 pounds, you're done. You shot yourself in the foot. Like you are done for the week. Talk about your plan or strategy for consistency. Like, do you wake up before every tournament practice starts and you're like, I want to find a pattern that will make me consistent this week? Or do you start out every one of them, hey, I'm swinging for the fences? But in the points races, like I mentioned earlier in the conversation, you are up there on both trails all the time. Like, how do you do that?
Well, it's honestly different for both trails. The elites, I am always, it's points. The NPFLs, I'm going to win every tournament. And until weigh in the first day, then that decides what we're doing. But I'm trying to, and I'm not saying I'm not trying to win every elite either. You know what I'm saying? But it's a little bit different because you have the, career average getting cut, losing your job. I mean, that is my job.
And the classic's a big deal.
You cannot win the classic if you're not at the classic.
Amen.
If you're in the expo, you don't hold a trophy. And so that's the main goal every year is, you got to make the classic to be in, contention to win. And, obviously I've always strived for AOI because I personally think that AOI is more superior than the classic, but it's not in everyone else's eyes. I think to every competitive bass fisherman it is, but some reason the classic is for my career, a classic win would do so much more than AOI win.
Mm-hmm.
But me personally, I would want the AOI over a classic. And, that's always the goal is AOI. So you have to sometimes go into that prevent defense. If that makes sense.
Yeah. For sure.
Because 40th place finish is way better than a 60th. You're making a cut, you get it. And a lot of guys, man, you leave us out there for long enough, you're like, we'll figure it out. You give us 3 days of actually tournament fishing, we'll start putting the pieces of the puzzle together. And I say that about Patrick all the time. Like, man, you can't leave that guy out there long enough because he will figure it out. And that's the thing. You can't gain more points if you don't make the cut. So
right.
Sometimes you have to just get in that cut and sometimes it doesn't work out. Sometimes you get into that cut and then you go for the gusto, like trying to make a big comeback, and it doesn't work. But you already made the cut. You got decent points, and you did what you thought you should do.
Well, I think Angler of the Years are, especially amongst the anglers, I think that is held in the highest regard because you kicked everybody's tail for a solid season, no matter where you guys went, no matter what curves were thrown your way conditions wise. And I say that, I mean, you're in 6th place this year in the Progressive Angler of the Year race on the NPFL side of things. But the year that Welcher and Pat and Greg Hackney, those 3 dudes, have had this year on all these fisheries, because, dude, I mean, you got to think about, and you've been in all of them, obviously. We fished some wild conditions.
Yeah.
When you think that back-to-back tournaments where you follow in the 9 feet high, red, 80-degree muddy water to the St. Lawrence, and then you think back to the crazy weather at Santee and the cancellation and all these things, Douglas being flooded. And Norman was pretty, Chamber of Commerce for the most part, was an awesome event, but man, to earn it and then to finish where we're going to finish, that early fall deal on Logan Martin, it's going to be tough. Water temperature is going to be hot. Like, whoever wins it earns it. And I think amongst the anglers, no matter if you're fishing your bass club, BFLs, the elites, whatever, an Angler of the Year points championship matters to everybody that fishes tournaments, I think. Now, the Classic has become that carrot, it is. I think it's how the fans, it's there. So even casual fans, right? It's what they tune into. Maybe they're not as dialed on who's doing what and, nerding out on the points. Like, I think a guy that, I talk about Pat a lot. His stat that blows my mind is I don't believe he's ever finished below like 15th in the Angler of the Year standings in the Elite Series, like since he joined it. Like, dude, that doesn't happen. That doesn't happen. Like, Superman sometimes has a bad day, right? Like, he doesn't. Like, Patrick doesn't a lot. And you're one of those guys too. And I think I wish that more people put emphasis on Angler of the Year from a fan standpoint, because it is. I've seen that, chatter about Swindle before, right? People are like, oh, he's never won this, that, or the other. When people, kind of hate on him, he's won 2 Bassmaster Elite Series Angler of the Year, bud. And made like 9 classics. Like, bro, trust me. And my joke is with all you guys is you don't want them in your bass club. They're going to hurt your feelings for damn sure. You don't want them showing up to the party.
But you look at it this week, Patrick finished 4th place. And this is a feather in Welcher's hat. And he lost 2 points in AOI. Finished 4th.
I know. It's dumb.
Like, damn.
Dude, I looked at it before.
He's Welcher's firing on all cylinders, and it's awesome to honestly sit back and watch, because he's just making it happen. And there was like Eufaula. He came and practiced a day and a half.
Yep,
that's all he had.
Yep,
just picked up right where he left off. Just went, did his thing, and like the only thing that causes you to not do good when this is going on is yourself. Like, you can only trip over you.
Yeah.
So you just sometimes got to stand back and just let it be.
No doubt about it.
He's been on it the past 3 years, honestly.
I looked at that right before the standings, right before we got on here to do this, and I saw that it did go to 7 because it had gotten to 4 points. After day 2, I believe Ken Duke threw that stat up on us during live, and now it's at 7. And Patrick finished 4th, like you're saying. Like, it is just incredible, man. And I don't want to say it's Kyle's to lose, because it's not, because Patrick is way too good of a fisherman, and Logan Martin can be very volatile at times, but he does have a lot of experience there. Pat's going to have to absolutely bring it, which he does in that one. I think there in September to be able to take him. And if he wins that, I mean, we got to start having some crazy conversations about Welcher, in my opinion. If he goes back-to-back Angler of the Year in this, he's got an Elite Series Angler of the Year title. He got a won by 45 pounds. It, just
I was about to say, beat the dog snot out of all of us.
yeah, man. He's starting to stack these things up, and you're going, okay, this dude is more than special. But I feel the same about
He's the real deal.
Oh, he is, man. But I feel the same about guys like you, guys like Pat. There's so many of y'all that I feel like in the conversation, I don't want to say you don't get brought up enough, but it's just, and you guys are putting it together. Like watching y'all on live, the fact that I actually text Welcher this, the fact that I get paid, like it's part of my job to watch you guys do what you do, and knowing fishing like I do and having competed and all these things, y'all are just on another planet, man. You just are. Like, period, end of story. Not to kiss your ass too much, but like you guys, there are a lot of y'all and that are just, I see things on camera all the time. And I'm like, these guys are you're just firing on different cylinders, man. Like than most people. And I hope you guys realize that and can just keep this thing rolling.
Yeah. And I think a lot of that has to do with us fishing so much. I mean, dude, I have fished so much this year. Like, I've been home, I think, for like, I've slept in my bed 40 times since February. And like, I think it's a double-edged sword too. I think like it helps you and it hurts you. Like, because I'm tired as hell. Like, have been since like March.
Yeah.
Because we went from, and it started out that way. We went literally from St. John's, Okeechobee, Santee Cooper to Texas for the Classic. Mm-hmm. Left Texas for the Classic, went to the Pasquotank, left Pasquotank, went to Norman. Left Norman, went to Hartwell, and left Hartwell. I had a writers conference for a week, but then came home for 4 days, and then it was back off again. And like, but dude, when you get on a roll, like what Welcher's done, like,
you don't want it to end. Yeah, you don't want it to end.
You absolutely. Let's fish another one. Let's fish another one. But it also gets your bad ones out of the way. You know, there's still you fish enough to where like you get that stumble or those two stumbles out of there, and you're back in motion, back in the groove. And I don't know, I've really enjoyed the NPFL the past 2 years. I've had a great time. I used to fish the opens, and I used to practice different in opens because my first probably 4 years on the Elite Series, something about the way I practiced was not the right way. Like I'd find good stuff, really good stuff, but the first day of the tournament, I think I was practicing too fast maybe or something like that. Didn't know how good areas were. And the first day I would stumble. So when you're in like 50th or 60th after day one, it's so hard to win a tournament, coming back from that far. But I was able to catch them day 2, day 3, and make day 4, make a top 10. And it's just, so trying different practicing methods like help, but fishing the opens, it wasn't very profitable at all, because you don't really make money. And it got to the point where like I was fishing a tournament. We were at Wheeler Lake the last year that I fished the opens, and like I had a really good place. I was a fairly decent boat number, and like I got there and 2 people pulled up on me, and they were in the AOI race to make the elites and all that stuff. And I was like, dude, I've been in your shoes. I understand this. Like, have it. I'm going to go fish over there where there's nobody. I'm pissing away $1,500
no doubt.
At that point, and just it doesn't financially make sense. And it was bringing my BASS stats down. I don't like all that.
You ain't about that life. Too competitive.
No.
For that.
Yeah.
Well, your NPFL stats are pretty good. I think you've weighed a limit like 29 consecutive limits or 30 consecutive limits or something totally insane. Ken Duke stat for sure that is just nutty to me. And I believe you have you cashed a check in every NPFL?
I did not at Eufaula.
Everyone.
Oklahoma hates me. Here's my track record in Oklahoma. All right. First time I ever went to Oklahoma was for an open, and I was killing it in the open. And I found them bad. Like it was game on. and I got stuck on a flat. I went into this place when a barge was going by. I had water, and when the barge went by, it sucked me down on this gray pipe clay mud, and it literally sucked my boat down. And I tried everything I could to get off. I did not make it to weigh in that day. Next day, I caught 21 pounds in the Arkansas River, biggest bag of the tournament, ended up in 40-something place. Next time we go to Oklahoma at 10 killer, I got to throw bass back because the jaw line's not right. Whatever. It was, in Oklahoma, if a bass has a patch on its tongue, it's considered a spotted bass. And a lot of people got to weigh in those spotted bass, but I didn't get to weigh them in. I got to weigh in one bass on the third day, and it cost me 35 places, and I lose Angler of the Year. Next time we go is Bassmaster Classic. I catch 20 pounds first day of the Classic. I'm 4 minutes late. Oklahoma hates me. Like I don't get it. I hate Oklahoma. I wish we'd never go back there.
I mean, to be fair, that Luke Combs has a song, "Ain't No Love in Oklahoma." Apparently there's no love for Drew Cook in Oklahoma. I don't guess I realized you had a tough one in the mud out there, buddy. I would have never even brought it up. I'm sorry to
honestly, no, I fished around the bass, and like statistically, or normally on Eufaula, like I had a decent tournament weight wise, but I still don't know how it was that good.
I don't either.
Honestly,
I don't either.
Like
the first day blew my mind.
Like the first day driving the way, and I was like, I'm probably going to be in 13th place.
Like, there were a lot of guys that 40th. Did. Yeah, there were a lot of guys that did.
Yeah.
A lot.
And so that was. I mean, hell, that's the reason I'm in 6th in AOI, because I think I finished like 40th in the NPFL.
And now just a little bit outside of the top 5, but the top 40 get to go to the championship, entry fee free, another chance to fish at $100,000. And you made that last year. You're gonna get to be at Hartwell. I know there's some schedule conflicts for some guys, but probably not for you, I imagine.
No, I think we got Logan Martin, then the championship the next week.
Right, the next week.
And then the Gunnersville $500,000 tournament the next week.
Okay.
And then that's going to be the end of my year. Then I'm going deer hunt.
And then you're going to deer hunt.
Screw it.
Sure.
Yeah. I need some me time. I really need some tractor therapy. I haven't been able to have it at all this year. The day before I left, me and my oldest boy went and filled up some feeders, and that was a good deal. Me and him hanging out, not fishing.
Yeah.
Like, man, I love fishing, and I still love what I do. But when you get home, and like my son is ate up with it. Like, he is so ate up with it, it's not even funny. Like, all I want to do is fish. But when hunting season rolls around, all he wants to do is hunt. So, like, it's great. But, man, fishing, when you get home after fishing for, 26 days in a row, like,
sometimes you just want to sit on the couch. It's okay to just do that. I have to, I'm wide open, obviously, with everything I got going on. And sometimes my wife is very good about going, hey, it's all right if you just want to lay on the couch for a few hours. Like that's okay too. Cause I'm like, cause I'm home, like right now, I'm here for 2 days. Yeah. I got stuff to do. I hadn't been here. I was gone. We went on vacation together as a family. Thank goodness, the week of the 4th of July. It's the only time we've really got to spend together like that on consecutive days, because I've been traveling so much with work. And got home from vacation, turned around, left for New York. Just got home from New York yesterday morning and hung out a little bit here today, doing podcasts, getting caught up on things. And it's like leaving again in the morning, 4:30 a.m., like heading out. Like, and it's just, and I'm not complaining. I know you're not either. It is, it's the life we choose, but man, it's tough being gone from home a lot. It really is. It can be. And like you said, you're tired, dude. I feel you on that right now, right here at this midpoint of the year with a lot more to go. You're like, shoo, just got to get through. Cause I actually thought my June was nuts. 3 ABTs, 1 NPFL, other work stuff going on. I thought, man, I get through June. Well, dude,
got it licked.
July's just as bad.
Yeah.
July's just as bad. August is really my first. I got it, and I know you guys have elites in August, but August is really my first month of this year that I don't have anything on the books for me, kind of deal. So I'm looking forward to getting through with ICAST and a couple more things, and then getting that going. Real quick, we'll end on this because I know you're exhausted. 20-hour drive home yesterday. You said you knocked it all out in one daggum day. You're an animal. Anything at ICAST you're looking forward to besides going and getting back home?
Yeah. We're going to have a soft release of some soft plastics that me and Drew Benton have designed. We're coming out with Spro, and I've actually used the wacky rig bait a lot this year. Okay. And I don't have many of them, so like it's been like pick and choose. Like some tournaments they had to sit out, and but was able to catch quite a few of them on it this week. I'm really looking forward to that. And man, I just want to honestly, I'm gonna take a grand tour of ICAST. I haven't done it the past 3 years. Like I always get home and I'm like, man, where the hell was that? Like,
yeah, me too.
I wish I'd have touched that.
Me too. Yeah.
So I'm gonna actually spend some time milling around looking. But one thing before we end, it's kind of funny. We're talking about like your schedule. You're just trying to get to the end of this right here. So the tournament, I was like, I'm just trying to get back and just win. Just want to win. That's all I wanted to do. Well, I got back, won. I get the trophy, I get that big cardboard check, all that stuff. And they're like, hey, you got to go to this hotel to take your polygraph. So I'm literally getting the truck. I'm like, let's knock this out so we can, go get something to eat, hang out with the boys for a little while before we drive home in the morning. And I'm in there, dude's hooking me up for this polygraph. And I was like, oh shit, I forgot my check, like my actual check. Like, I don't have any money. Like, I only got a cardboard check, like, and I freaked out. And he's like, what's going on? I was like, dude, I forgot my check. Like, I don't have, my wife's going to kill me if I come home without a damn check. And
imagine.
So we call Brad, call Paul and all that stuff. And they're like, we're not doing it. We're direct depositing it, anything. So I'm like, all right, perfect. But it was a mini heart attack, and he almost got to record it on the heart monitor thing.
Oh my gosh. I would have liked to have seen that if you'd have been completely hooked up whenever you realized that you didn't have actual money and you had the Happy Gilmore check.
Freaked out. Yeah. Freaked out. But
I love it, man.
It's all good.
That's awesome, dude. Well, I appreciate you taking time to do this after a 20-hour drive. Go enjoy the family. I'll see you this week at ICAST, and congrats again, man. I'm proud for you. It was, you killed it on live. It was a great time.
Thank you. I appreciate you having me on, and maybe we can do it one more time this year.
Hey, yeah, got a couple more chances. Drew Cook, everybody. Well, that's all she wrote with Drew Cook, the 2025 St. Lawrence River Stop 5 champ for the NPFL and absolute fish catcher, one of the most versatile anglers in the country. And I appreciate him taking the time after a 20-hour drive to chat with us low-lifers. I'm going to take you out with some Biloxi Blues. Be sure to subscribe to the Luke Duncan's Traveling Circus YouTube channel. If you haven't, make sure to like this on iTunes, subscribe, however all that works. But I appreciate each and every one of you. Like I said, take you out with some Biloxi Blues. I'll see y'all next week. I'm sure to talk about the amazing things I saw down at ICAST 2025. See ya.
From Jackson Town to Tupelo, I never could make it last. Spanish moss and Civil War ghosts, well, I'm gonna leave them in the past. Any direction, Lord, I'll be fine. It don't matter, east or west. North, south, wherever the wind blows, I'm leaving those burdens at rest.